Oh, that is so awesome. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me today? For how many of you is this your first ISTE? Oh, give yourselves a big round of applause. So we know Google Docs. We know Google Sheets. We know Google Classroom. But today we are going to learn about something called Google Frames. Has anybody ever heard of Google Frames? First of all, I want to say thank you for being here. Welcome to the Google Teacher Theater. My name is Jeff Bradbury. I am an instructional coach from Norwalk Public Schools. I want to give a big shout out to our friends all the way in the back from Norwalk. Everything that we're going to be talking about today is going to be on that QR code. If you want to take your phone and scan that, all of the resources that we're going to be showing off today are going to be emailed to you guys. So take a moment and make sure that you guys check in with me. I'd love to show you about all these different things. We have a quick agenda today. We're going to talk a little bit about Google Slides. We're going to figure out what the advantages are of using Google Slides, and we're going to kick Google Slides up a notch, and the word of the day is slam. Can I hear everybody go, slam? Slam. Oh, come on. We got to make sure everybody in the hallway hears this. One more time, slam. Slam. And today we're going to learn a little bit about Google Frames. First of all, I want to show off one of my favorite parts of Google Slides. Has anybody ever tried out the Explore tool? Oh my goodness, raise your hands. Okay, before we do the Explore tool, I'm going to tell you there is a little bit of an audience call and effect on this. I want you to say the word, yes, they are, oh my goodness. Ready? Yes, they are, oh my goodness. Yes, they are, oh my goodness. Now that is actually the answer to a very important question, a question that I ask everybody that I do a presentation with, and the question is, Wi-Fi. Aren't they the most adorable triplets in the world? Yes, they are. Oh, come on. They're in Connecticut right now. I want them to hear you. Aren't those the most adorable triplets ever? They're actually 9 years old coming up soon, so they're not quite that cute anymore. But I want to show you the Explore tool. This is absolutely amazing. This has nothing to do with animations. But you notice here we have a blank slide, a basic white slide, and I have one picture on it. I'm going to get rid of the theme over here, because what I want to do is I want to help my students focus on content. Now, I get a chance to work a lot with elementary students. We all know what an elementary student slide looks like. It's right? It's neon, it's got amazing animated graphic, a whole bunch of that great stuff, right? But I want to show you how to focus your students' attention on the content and not on the design. You see, at the bottom right here, we have something called the Explore tool. If you hover your mouse over it, it opens up. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and you'll notice in one click, this automatically changes the slide. Can I get a slam? But we want to be able to add stuff to this presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to create a text box. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start to type. Now, what I want you to notice is what's actually happening over on the side. I now have a quick and simple and easy slide. Pretty cool, right? Thank you. All right, but enough about that. I want to start to show off a little bit of stuff. This is one of my favorite animated movies. Does anybody want to tell me what this animated movie is? Snow White, and it's time to Google. You can grab your phones. When was Snow White created? You can give me the 1600, what? 1979, no, I don't think so. 36, I'll go with that. When Snow White came about, animators, many of them, had to put this together by hand. They drew things out, they inked it. If you ever go into some of the Disney archives, they have rooms full of paint. This is before hex colors, but you needed to make sure all the paint matched the same, and this was painstaking. This took many years to put together, but the process is pretty simple. Draw it, ink it, color it, animate it. And Walt Disney had to put together an entire movie. You think about the early animations, they were very short movies. When we're looking at animations, we have this acronym, FPS, frames per second. Does anybody want to take a guess at how many frames per second Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was made? I heard it. 23, 24, somewhere around there. Why is that the number? Because our human eye is about 22, 21 frames a second before it stops looking like picture, and it starts looking like a motion video. But imagine, for the entire 90-minute movie, times 24 frames, times all those layers, that was a lot of work, wasn't it? Can we do better? So now we fast forward a few months. I'm not going to make you sing. If we had more time, I would make you sing, but I'm going to let that go for right now. We then fast forward to Frozen. When was Frozen made? I know this is going to make us all feel old, but when was Frozen made? like 10 years ago. Oh my goodness. Was Frozen made the same way as Snow White? No. How was Frozen made? CGI, but it was still the same idea. You had to draw it, you modeled it, you put clay around it, you inked it, you digitized, you did all the same thing. But Frozen had a different frame rate because it was more, I'll say in quotes, modern. Anybody want to take a guess at what the frame rate is on modern animation these days? 60? All right, if you're looking at things in the IMAX world, it's 150 plus. That's how they get high def and high frame rate. But it's still the same process. The question is, can you do this? Oh my goodness. I have 14 minutes to get you guys going. Can we do this? Can your students do this? And that's where Google Frames comes in. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to forget everything you know about presentations, applications, and totally transform your lessons into magical works of cinematic art. Are you ready, my friends? Here's what you need. Number one, you need an idea. Number two, you need some awesome students. And number three, you need some creativity. But here's the awesome stuff. What you do have is you have an imagination, and so do your students. You have awesome students, and they have you. But more importantly, you have Google Apps for Education. Again, if you're just coming in, you can certainly use the QR code, and all of this stuff is going. So what the heck is Google Frames? And I got to tell you a little story. It all starts with a turkey. No, seriously. It all started with a turkey. I was an instructional coach in a school district. I was walking through a fourth grade classroom, and I heard them gobbling up all the information. Anyway, so I happened to walk into this classroom. I said, what are you doing? And they were doing this amazing Thanksgiving lesson. They had construction paper, they had tape, they had scissors, and they were building paper turkeys. Now, I don't know about you. I love doing hands-on things. I love making things from my refrigerator. Shout out to the Edu triplets. Everything that they do is still on our walls. But what they were doing was they were making turkeys. And I said to the teacher, what can we do with this? Now that they know how to build this turkey, and basically the way that they were doing it is, circle for the head, in the belly they had a word, and then the wings were synonyms. So happy became beautiful and things like that. And I said, okay, how do we kick this curricular lesson up a notch? And I said, how about we decide to make an animation out of this? They said, what do we do? I said, we can use Google Frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now how we can take this turkey, and by using an application like Google Drawing, we can then decide to show them the exact same turkey, how to work with shapes, how to work with colors, how to work with layers, and how to put all this stuff together and start to make what's physical into the digital. I am a big believer that everything that we do doesn't have to be on the computer. Can I get an amen to that one? We can absolutely start working with the physical and transform it up. All of these templates are yours by clicking on that QR code up on top. But you can see where we can go. This is no different than what you're going to see on Snow White, on Frozen, on even my friend Encanto. We can make sure all of that stuff works. So what we had is this idea. If I can take something physical that they're doing, if I can go through the digital learning and build something using our computers, then we can make it animated. And all I had to do was to take that graphic and turn it from Google Drawings into Google Slides. And next thing I know, my turkey was talking, turkey was talking back to me, and now it's able to have a conversation. Can I get a slam on that one? So today we're going to learn how to put all of this stuff together, because that's when I started to come up with this concept. I had this aha moment. If I have a turkey and I have Google Apps, then my students can build Star Wars. Anybody here want to learn how to make Star Wars? Work with me. Anybody here want to learn how to make Star Wars? Very cool. All this is, if you break down the concept, it is a lesson in search. It is a lesson in building. It is a lesson in creativity. Okay? Showing somebody how to do a simple image search where they type in the words Star Wars and transparent. Now you can have these conversations about things like borders and unborders and all of this great stuff. Let's show you how to work this. Because really what we can do is we can use Google Slides to take these concepts like a dinosaur and a droid, and we can make them talk to each other. Oh my goodness. Your students can do this. They can be as creative as possible. So what I like to do on here is I like to do these types of lessons on Fridays. You bring your coach in. You have a good time. By the way, any Monty Python fans here? This is my tribute to Monty Python. But I like to show this stuff off on a Friday. You get the kids interested. You show them how to do it. You build an animation festival. On Monday or Tuesday, you let them come together. Here it comes. On Monday or Tuesday, you bring them together. They show off their animation. What are they actually doing over the weekend? They're learning the application. They're pushing all the buttons. They're challenging themselves. They're challenging each other. But now that they know how to use the application, now you rope them in with the curricular stuff. You don't necessarily have to have the Star Destroyer. But you'll notice on here, I've got these animals moving away. I've got the Death Star coming in. I'm using the transparency feature in Google Slides. I've got animations. I've got all this different stuff. Don't you want to know how to make it work? Good, because I got 9.5 minutes. So now what we're going to do from here is we're going to look at Google Frames. What is Google Frames? It is a creative way of thinking about Google Slides. It is a great way to students to learn how to dive into the curriculum. And isn't it totally awesome? There you're getting it. So what does this product teach students? Number one, search, image size, transparency, image type, URLs, wireframing, proportion, color theory, animations, timing, transitions. Isn't this what Walt and his buddies were doing in 1920? So let's get started. What I want to do is I want to show you how this works. All of these templates, again, are yours. I'm going to click up here on Use Templates because what I have right now is a typical desert scene that you might be on if you're looking at Tatooine. And what I have right in front of me is I have 2 characters. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this with 1 character, and depending on the time, I'll show you how to do this with 2 characters because I want to introduce you to my little protocol droid friend, R2-D2, and all we're going to do is we're going to make him walk across the stage. So I'm going to hit copy, and what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to different mouse. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this over. And all I'm going to do with R2-D2 over here is I'm going to move him a little bit. And then, thank you. And then over here, I'm going to go copy and paste. And again, all I'm doing right now is I'm moving this frame little bit by little bit, little bit by little bit. You guys get the idea, right? So this is basically you're making a flipbook animation. All right. Now, if I wanted to make R2-D2 come forward to me, I can make him bigger. You get the idea. So what we want to do is we want to show you how to make R2-D2 walk around. Obviously, if I want to make R2-D2 go the other way, wish I had my mouse, I can flip him and move him around. You get the idea, right? Okay, so I'm just looking at the time. The question is, how do you make this work automatically? The way that you make this work automatically is coming up here into File, and then you're going to hit Publish to Web. And under Publish to Web, you've got 2 amazing options. You can link or you can embed. I'm going to hit link. Now, how many of you guys are master coders? You don't need to, I know I got all the eyes up here. You don't need to be, but I'm going to go through a few of these sessions here. Auto advance every 1 second, and we're going to say start slideshow as soon as the player loads, and we're going to restart. Now I'm going to hit the publish. Do I want to? Yes. And now this spits out a huge link for me that all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit copy, and over here I'm going to hit paste. Now when I do that, I notice that this is now moving back and forth. And because I have it to automatically start, it did. And because I have it hit to automatically loop, you'll notice that it did. So just pretend that this looks really, really awesome, okay? Sounds cool, right? You can do this. Now, if you wanted to add a second character into here, it's very similar to the process. I have to find the process. There we go. Very similar to that process. Instead of copying a new slide, essentially I would come over here and I would delete BB8 because what I would need to then do is copy that character onto the next slide, onto the next slide. So for character 1, you're copying the slides. For characters 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, you're going to be copying the character. Does that make sense? But then you're saying, Jeff, what are we going to do? Because I want to do different things here. So how do we make him go faster? How do we make him go slower? We're not all master coders, but if we look here at this, and I wish I could zoom it in, but it says /pub, which means publish, and then it says loop equals true, meaning loop it, and then it says start equals true, meaning start on here, and then at the end here it says delay m equals 1,000. 1,000 was the 1 frame per second. If we're doing 1,000 is 1 frame per second, if I do 2,000, that's 2 frames a second. Does that mean it's going to go slower or faster? Slower. If I do 3, that's 3 frames a second, that's going to go even slower. If I go 500, right, so if I change this to ms equals 500, you'll notice he's going a little faster. If I make it 250, that's now 4 frames a second. You get the idea. So you're just playing around with that math problem. How can you use this in your classroom? Does anybody, I've got 5 minutes left, but does anybody have any ideas of how can this be used in a curricular activity? Yes? Absolutely. You don't have to have the actual images to show off the different stories. You can have Mickey Mouse being Alexander Hamilton. Like, you can do these different things. Another, how can you use this in your classroom? Transformation is a great one. Any science teachers? Cell division, right? I did a great lesson with one of our AP biology teachers. Even in middle school, we can do this. You get a cell, and over the course of a time, you're dissecting your cell. But if you show them how to do this, then when you actually go and do the curriculum, you don't have to waste time teaching the tech. I see a hand in the back. How can you use this in your classroom? Science vocabulary, awesome. Can you use this in math? The first slide has the number 1. The second slide has a plus. The third slide has the number 1. The next slide has an equal. So slide, slide, slide. 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Make sense? Can you do this with language flashcards? Slow down the animation and have word, target language, word, target language. You get the idea? Any other ways that you think you can use this in the classroom? Yes?
Okay, so you're talking about the transformation. You could use geometry and with the larger size, and you could do the scaling up.
I love that idea. Anybody else? Let's all contribute here. Yes, in the back, I see some hands. As a music teacher, I never say former music teacher, but as a music teacher, that warms my heart. That is so awesome. I'd love to talk to you afterwards about that. Yes? 2 characters using dialogue. As a sports coach, could you see putting a basketball or a volleyball thing up here and that you're doing sports plays? You could do that, right? I did have an example here that I didn't have time to go through, but there's a baseball. Like, you could have, if the guy runs to this and the ball comes over here, it's a little much, but you can do all of these things. The point is, we can all do this, and we can all do this with our students. This is not difficult stuff, and what I want to recommend is use your phone, hit that QR code, reach out to me. You can find me on my website. I want to say one more time thank you to all my crew back there from Norwalk Public Schools, and on behalf of everybody here at ISTE, thank you so much for being here. My name is Jeff Bradbury, and on behalf of everybody here, keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students. Thank you, everybody.